What's the crack? How are y'all doing? First of all, can you hear me? I'm trying out a new microphone. If you just say yes, that would be fantastic. There's nobody here. Whoop, what's going on here? Hold on a second there. We'll cancel that microphone. I knew that wasn't going to work. Can you hear me now? I'm going to turn on the comments there. Sharma, can you hear me? You're my sound tester. Right, what here? Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm assuming you can. This is a horrible start to a live. Yeah, good. All right, let's go. So, welcome to the live. It's been a while since I've done this. I haven't done this in about 3 weeks now, so I'm a little bit rusty. I'm a little bit excited. So, today, what we're going to go over, what I do is I go over the Facebook group, I see what questions people are asking, and then I just talk about them live. So, today, what we're going to talk about is one girl happened to her the other day. There was two testers in the car with her. Is that normal? Another person asked, do I need to turn on the air conditioning or will I open the windows in the test? Good question. Another question, can I do my test if my NCT is out of date, but I have it booked? So I'll talk about that in a minute. Someone asked me for tips for driving manual as a newbie. So good question, well done. My English is poor. Can I do the driving test? The person who wrote this post got a ton of bad advice there. I'm going to cover this in a few minutes. My car has bumps and scratches. Can I do my test? Do I have to do an emergency stop in my driving test? And very important, guys, after this, there's a quiz in the description below. Fill it out. Make sure you're ready to pass your driving test before you book a cancellation. All right, so we're going to get into this now. If you do have any questions, pop them into the comments and I'll go over them when I'm finished this. This won't be long. So one girl said there was two testers in the car during a test. Is this normal? And unfortunately, sometimes it is normal, yes. What that is, I know it's a lot of people say, don't worry about the second tester. They're not looking at you, they're looking at the other tester. But at the same time, it does still feel like a lot of pressure. You can be unlucky, and yes, you can have two testers in the car. The tester in the backseat is not looking at you, they're looking at the tester. But yes, it does seem to add a lot of added pressure, and it can seem a little bit unfair if you're doing your driving test. But be prepared, it can happen. Another person, do I need to put on the air conditioning in the car or do I need to open the window? Right, ever since 2020, since COVID, a lot of testers still demand that you have the windows open. All right. Sorry, I think I'm losing signal. A lot of testers demand that the windows are open. So if it's a really hot day, it has been summer, and you think the aircon is better, you could ask the tester, would you prefer the aircon or the windows open? They probably will ask for the windows open. So you just kind of do what they want. And another thing on this, a lot of people their tests are being cancelled because their passenger window isn't opening. If your tester is one of the testers that demands their window to be open and your window doesn't open, chances are your test won't be conducted because your car is not fit for test. Make sure your windows can open in your driving test. That's very important. Another question, can I do my test if my NCT is out of date, but I have it booked? So again, this happened in 2020 when COVID hit. You were allowed to do your driving test if your NCT was booked, but you didn't have the date yet. That's well and truly gone now. You need to have everything valid, in date, in the window. Email receipts don't count for tax, insurance. Everything has to be valid, in date, and in the window. I did leave a video in the description explaining, I think it was 10 of the things you need to have in order for your driving test. So jump on and have a look at that video. What do we have next? So driving manual for newbies. So yeah, so this is just trial and terror until you get it right. I believe they were talking about with the pedals. When you first get into a manual car, it's the pedals that are going to be the most confusing with the gears. What I do recommend is just don't even go anywhere yet until you get comfortable with the clutch, bringing it up to the bite, but then a half a centimeter more, and then pressing it back down again. And just do that 20 times to get used to the biting point. When you've done that, then it might be time to get moving. So then you're going to just bring your foot to the bite, a half a centimeter more, and take your handbrake down. Don't use any gas, and just let the car drive in a straight line and hold your feet where they are. And just before you stop on the brake and just clutch in and fully stop. And just keep doing that up and down a straight road. Don't even worry about turning until you can master the pedals and the gears. And for your first lesson, only use first and second. Just getting used to getting the car going and getting comfortable stopping the car again, clutching in and stopping. Now, this is important. Someone asked this, my English is poor, can I do my driving test? And the answer is no. If you can't understand the tester, they're not going to bring you out because you won't know what they're talking about. This happened to a guy I had years ago, and his English wasn't great, but I just said, you'll be okay. But when he went in, the tester says, no, look, if you can't understand me, you won't know where I'm telling you to go, and it's potentially dangerous. If you can't understand English, what you need to do is bring an interpreter with you. I don't mean pay for anybody. It could be your brother, your partner, your friend. Once they have a good grasp of English and they can relate to you what the tester is saying, they will be sitting in the back of the car, but that's it. You don't want them having the crack with you or anything, just literally translating what the tester is saying because you have a job to do. You're there to pass your test. All right, so that's what you do if you're struggling with the English. One guy said it, my car has bumps and scratches. Can I do my driving test? And yes, of course you can, provided it's not affecting the use of the vehicle. If it's a bit of like damage to a door or a bumper or a few scratches, it's not the end of the world. Once it's nothing dangerous and it's affecting the vehicle. Another girl asked, do I need to do an emergency stop in my driving test? And the answer to this is no, you don't do it in your driving test. But if you take a look at this here, we practice this in lesson number 5, correct position in 2, and we're supposed to stop in a confined space. Not many people do it, but that's when you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to do it once. Now, as I mentioned, there is a quiz in the description, so jump on and fill that out after this to see if you're ready to pass your driving test. And now we're going to go to this. So some guy asked me on the Facebook group, they said about the Sparwell Roundabout. I'm not really sure what he meant by the Sparwell Roundabout. He didn't give me like what he was confused with. But I'm not sure if you can see this, but we can see here there's 3 lanes on approach by the looks of it. There's a bus lane on the left lane. So if we're going, it's kind of hard to see this. I'm not too familiar with this roundabout myself. But obviously, if the bus lane on the left, I'm sure if you're going to take the first exit to the left, it would kind of break and you would move into the left lane. If you're going to go straight through, you'd be in the middle lane and around the middle lane on the roundabout. And if you're taking the 3rd or 4th exit to the right, on the right lane, on the inside lane, and you will have to, wait, hold on a second. Let me just zoom in on this. Is this a spiral roundabout? And then you might have to exit in the left lane there on that one. It's hard to see if there's road markings there or not. I'll have to have a proper, I'm going to ask the guy what he was struggling with, and I'm going to come back with an answer another day for this one. Another person asked me about night driving. So you're supposed to do night driving in your last lesson. So what does it say there? So on EDT number 12, or driving at night, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to drive on a road obviously getting used to using your headlights and stuff like that, but also trying to find a stretch of road where there's no lights and you have to demonstrate you know how to use your high beams. Also, a question in your driving test will be when driving at night, when do we dip our headlights? That means when we're driving at night, there's no street lights, our high beam is on, and we dip our headlights when we meet and follow other road users. So if you see a car coming, you see their headlights on, that's when you turn off your high beam. Apart from that, it's the same. It's the same as driving. If you can't see, you ease off slightly. But apart from that, it's just similar to normal driving. What else do we have? So somebody asked me about these chevron markings here. They said if there's a bus stopped here, are we allowed to overtake the bus if it's safe to do so, even by touching these? And the answer would be yes, it would be safe to overtake, provided there's no cars coming and you can see there's nothing coming. If there's like a few people getting on this bus here, if there's about 5 or 6 people waiting to get on, you don't need to wait behind the bus. It's a broken white line. You can overtake them if there's no cars coming and then slip back in. Even if you do have to touch these chevron markings. If we see the RSA marking sheet guidelines, we can see disregard for a continuous white line where an applicant is following behind a slow moving vehicle, tractor, cyclist, bin truck, bus, and overtakes on a continuous white line, a fault should not be recorded for traffic controls. But at the same time, if you stay back because it's a slow moving vehicle or you don't think it's safe to, or it's a continuous white line, you also won't be marked for progress because you are still doing the rules of the road. So both are correct. Do whichever one you think is best. Obviously, if there's cars coming, you have to wait. If there's no cars coming and there's a load of people getting on a bus here, by all means, go around it. What else did we have there? Was there anything else? Hatch markings, boom, boom, boom. Okay, I think that was everything. Yeah, that was everything. Right, if you know the drill, lads, there's a link in the description if you need to book lessons in Dublin, and we'd be happy to help. Just remember, we have no short-term availability, so if your test is soon, make sure you jump on ASAP. All right, we're gonna hide this now. Now, questions. How are you doing, all? Hey, Aileen, Sharab, thank you for your help this morning. Aileen, I want to thank for helping you pass your theory test. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Boom, 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 boom. Right, how you doing, Sudesna? So Sudesna says, how do I maintain the speed limit, be it 30 or 50 kilometers an hour? It is so difficult to maintain speed limit. Please advise. So on a 30, I find this pretty easy. I always say in a 30, get up to third gear and literally do not press the accelerator. Literally just tip it every few seconds and that will hold you at 30. If you're on a 30 and you go up to third and you press the gas, forget about it. You're going to go way over 30 and you're going to break the speed limit. So in a 30, it's a bit easier. Flip it into third and barely touch the pedal. If you look at the speedometer and you're above 30, just come off the gas, let it fall back down and just kind of tip the pedal. And once you get the hang of that, it's so easy to hold it at 30. Next, we see holding it at 50 again. So you probably will be expected to use fourth gear in your test for 50. Yeah. With fourth gear, again, if you go hard on the pedal in fourth gear, it's going to go way up. So just get used to your car, get used to finding the sweet spot on the pedal, and you just want to apply a small bit of pressure. Once we can feel the car accelerating, just hold your foot there. There's no need to press it any harder because it's just going to keep on accelerating and go above the speed limit. So just get comfortable with your footwork and just get used to the pressure on the pedals. A bit of a terrible answer, but that's the only way to do it, unfortunately. Now, Sharab, how are you doing? What should I take care while turning left? There are right left turns, ones with blinking yellow lights, ones with green lights. What kind of observation difference will be for both? Oh, interesting question. I like it. So first of all, we will talk about the ones with the flashing amber directional arrow. With them, What I say about them is treat them like a roundabout. If I'm taking this left slip road, there's a flashing amber arrow point me that way. I get into position, I look to the right. If there's no cars coming, the way you would at a roundabout, keep going. Exactly like a roundabout, if I position and I see a car coming, I stop. The correct observation at them is just like a roundabout. I have to look where I'm going, but also to the right, because the cars on the main road will have right of way. That arrow only means go if it's safe to do so. All right. Ones with ones with a green light. So a green light means proceed safely. I would obviously take a glance to make sure there's no cars coming, but more importantly, just looking where you're going at a green light. All right, very good question. Now, how you doing, Daniela? Can I drive across a solid cycle lane when turning left, as it means of positioning the road to the left? Not really. You shouldn't have to for a cycle lane. I'm trying to think. In a lot of the Raheny routes, there's a cycle lane, and I take the next left and I hold it in a straight line. As the line breaks, left mirror and steer, and then position in. There's no need to do it at a cycle lane. I wouldn't cross a continuous white line at a cycle lane to turn left. They're not that wide. Your position is good enough without crossing it. So I'd just stay dead straight in line with the line. When the line breaks, left mirror, and then get it done. All right, good question. Thanks very much. How you doing, Abdul? Cross junction with traffic lights, going right, first car, rules and guidance. Cross junction traffic light. So are you saying if I want to turn right and the car opposite me wants to turn right, just let me know if that's what you're asking me and I'll come back to that one, bud. How you doing, user 9511? Just pass your test. Thanks for the videos. You're more than welcome. Thank you for watching. But you, yeah, yeah, I'm a pass on a different company. Yeah. Sorry about that, bud. Yeah, sorry, but we don't have any short notice availability. I'm sorry about that. But if you want to text me about that, I'll be happy to look into that one. Hello, Amir. On Baker's Corner Junction on Dunleary. Now, come here, before I go any further on this, I only done test routes out there. I'm not too familiar with the area, but I'll give it a bash. I was turning right, and oncoming car was turning right as well. I tried moving forward to turn after the car, but the car. Okay, this is what I've said a lot of times about this. Always let the opposite car make the first move, because if you demand that you drive past him, the other guy will be saying, "What are you doing? Like, I don't know what you're doing here." So if the guy in front, if the person in front is just kind of waiting there, there's no point trying to squeeze around them unless it's a big huge junction. I'm not sure of the junction, to be honest. But what I do tell people is let the first car nose in front of you and go near side to near side. Well, then you just do the same. Try mirror what they do. I did demonstrate this in test tips for Raheny. I done it about 2 weeks ago. If you want to check out that video, I explain what I'm talking about a bit better. But I can't give you any. I don't know the junction, to be honest, but also, your man told me not to tell you that I did the lesson with him because otherwise, okay, give me a text, but don't worry about it. Look, you passed. It doesn't matter. That's all that matters to me. Is this correct, or should I just? Is this going? But you didn't answer. That's what I said. Elaborate more. Is it what I just talked about with the guy before with Amir? Yeah. If that's the case, let him make the first move. If he wants to turn in front of you, well, then you just do the same. Sorry, my dog is drinking water there. Honestly, but you don't have to. Honestly, I'm just grateful you passed your driving test. That's all I want. Honestly, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Hello, Varun. Which test is easier, automatic or manual? Definitely automatic, because you have so much less to think about. I do always kind of say, but the tester is a bit more harsh on you when it comes to progress and position. Sorry, that's my dog. But when you're not focusing on gears and clutch, It gives you more time to look at what you're doing, and it gives you a lot more time to process the information. So if you're struggling, go for automatic. How you doing, MC? I got 2 grade 2s for stopping. I'm assuming it was because I stopped behind the cars in front of me. No, you stopped too far away from the curb, or if it's position stopping, it's when you're asked to pull in and stop, you are probably too far away from the path, or potentially too close to the path if you touch the path. But that's position stopping. I'm actually going to show you that. 1 second, 1 second. I lost just there. I'm going to share my screen here. I'm going to share the RSA booklet. And we see here position stopping. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? So an applicant should normally stop in a safe place which does not inconvenience or delay any road users. Stopping or blocking a junction, stopping too far out from the curb, stopping too close to the vehicle in front. Oh yeah, possibly yeah. Or hitting and mounting the curb while stopping. Now, I hope that answers your question, MC. I was told you can't have anybody else in the car with you on full test, full stop. If you don't understand English, you need to have a translator. That's just how it is. So if you can understand perfect English, obviously you need to be by yourself. But if you can't understand what they're saying, you're allowed to bring a translator with you. It's happened to multiple of my students. How you doing, Mr. Neumann? I passed my test today, but the RSA account when I open it says you haven't passed. Could you please explain this? I don't work for the RSA, bud, and you have to let the system update. It doesn't make when you pass, it doesn't automatically get uploaded. You know yourself in software, it usually like they upload stuff, and then at the end of the night it will refresh. I would and anyway, it doesn't really matter. Once you go into the NDLS, all you need is your pass cert, hand it into them, whatever other paperwork you need, and then you will get your license in 10 days or something like that. I never went through parking, and I feel this is not covered in lessons enough or not at all. When you say parking, do you mean parking at the side of the road, or do you mean reverse parking into a spot? Just elaborate just a little bit more on that one, please, Anita. Yeah, exactly. Things like that, they do tend to take a few days to get up on the system, but you don't need that. You just go in with that piece of paper and say, "Thank you very much. I'll have my license." Eva Monaghan, how you doing? Past first time today. Thank you so much for your videos. Congratulations. I'm delighted, and thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. So how can I okay, I'll let you talk about that. But like it's the RSA. Go onto the RSA website. Anita does not work for the well, I'm assuming she doesn't. Hey, down my channel. What gear do I go over speed bumps in? It depends on the size of the bumps. Some bumps you can comfortably go over them in third, just tip the brake off the brake, roll over. Some bumps, depending when you're looking at them, if it looks a bit big, you might want to use second. But in some scenarios, there's some bumps where you need fourth gear, especially depending on the car you drive. So with that, just you kind of have to gauge them as you approach them. If they look big, try it in second. If it's too bumpy, well then do the next one in first. But it depends on your car as well. Good question. Well done. With the speed bumps that are kind of broken, I like to say straddle the bump. And unless they're really wide, you can just literally drive over them, just tip the brake, off the brake, and do them in third normally. How you doing, May? The traffic lights on the Belgard Road leading to the test centre were not working this morning. If this happens during the test, what do I do? Very good question. Where's this in the RSA marking sheet guidelines? I don't want to waste time scrolling. Right, so if the lights are out, so obviously this is out of your hands now. The tester will, I'm going to find this up. The tester will say to you, or you will say to him, it looks that not him, sorry, it looks like you will say to the tester, it looks like these lights are out. And then he will agree, they will agree, sorry, and then just proceed with caution, looking right and left. You have to be a little bit assertive, you will, but once you get a safe gap, you will be expected to go, and there's nothing you can do about that. Like, the lights are broken, but you have to demonstrate you're calm and collected under pressure, and you know how to tackle these situations comfortably. And that's why you're in the car in the test. You have to be ready for everything. So, good question. Well done. I like that one. I hope that answered your question, by the way. My channel, how you doing? Warrenstown to Castlecurra route in Mulhuddard. I don't know where that is. Do I go over them in third or fourth? Fail my test for taking them in third. I don't know what bumps they are, but have I covered them in any of my test routes? If you just let me know, and then I could elaborate a bit more on that one. If it's the ones in, is that car Duff? Oh no, it wouldn't be, because you have to do them first. No. If you can elaborate which ones, bud, I'll be happy to shed some light on it. How you doing, Sharab? Should I signal if there is a car? Should I signal if there is a parked car while turning right, and when there is no one behind me? Should I only signal if there is a car behind me while overtaking a parked car? Yeah, a lot of the time there's no need to signal around parked cars. The reasons why we do signal around parked cars is to let other road users know what we're doing. If it's a quiet residential estate, there's no cars ahead, there's no cars behind you, I just always say mirror move. If you've seen any of my test routes, a lot of the time I just say mirror move and just go straight past. And remember, keeping your doors with. I hope that answered your question there. I think that's what you asked. Sorry, I'm struggling with the read today. I've been awake literally nearly 24 hours now, and I'm kind of struggling here. So what do we have here? How you doing, Vaz? Are you allowed to flash your lights at people in the test to give people way? Now, that's the most incorrect thing you can do with your test. Hold on a second. I'm going to share my screen here. So that will be classed as beckoning others, and that would be incorrect use of your secondary controls. Let me just share this with you here. Signals. Boom, 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 boom. I think I went past it there, did I? Yep. Signals, misleading signal. Actually, I don't know where that. I'm gonna cancel that. Sorry, I don't know what I'm talking. I don't know where that is in the marketing sheet guidelines. Sorry, I'll come back to that another day. But to answer your question, no, of course not. You're not. So when it comes to giving way to people, we never beckon other road users to do anything. Whether it's with your hand, flashing your headlights, we never tell anybody to do anything. If somebody wants to cross the road in front of you, this is anticipating others. We're looking up the road. We can see this pedestrian wants to cross the road. We're off the gas. We're on the brake. Once they step out on the brake, clutch in and stop, and just let them cross the road. They're going to do it. You don't need to do this with your hand and beckon them across. You definitely don't need to flash your lights at them. That would be incorrect use of your secondary controls. I don't know how the test would mark it on that, but it would be a minimum of a grade 2 for doing that. All right. So just, yeah, never beckon anybody to do anything. Good question, bud. Thank you. So how you doing? Absolute altitude, great name. While turning right from its signal, do I join into the leftmost lane or onto the right lane? Good question. And yes, the left lane. Always aim for the left lane. Yes, always aim for if the left lane is a bus lane, then we're aiming into the middle lane, but never into the right lane. If you move into the right lane, you'll get a mark for position on the straight. And if you stay in the right lane, you'll continue to get more marks of position on the straight, and you will fail your driving test. This happens a lot in Finglas, where they come onto the Ballymun Road, and a lot of people fail a test for being in the wrong lane. So good question, and into the left lane. The left lane is always the preferred lane. How you doing, Tui? So should I use the hazard lights when doing a maneuver like the reverse around the corner and the 3-point turn? So the answer to that is no, because your hazard warning lights. So the question is, when do you use your hazard warning lights? And one of the answers is when you're broken down at the side of the road, or to alert other road users of a hazard ahead. So to use them here would be incorrect use of your hazard warning lights. The tester will actually pull in, just mirror, signal, move in and stop, handbrake up into neutral and just cancel your signal. When you're doing your turnabout, you use your right indicator moving off, but then it will cancel. That's no problem. And no signal for the reverse around the corner because your reverse light is on. That's your indication that you're going in reverse. In one of my Raheny test routes, Joe, one of the best instructors around, he said if there's a car right behind you down reverse around the corner, he said you could possibly use them, but I've never had to use them in any of my driving lessons. So I would avoid using your hazard warning lights unless you're broken down at the side of the road. Good question. Thank you. How you doing, MC? Because my instructor told me I was on a hill and stopped too close to the car in front. He told me if the car, yeah. So because if you one of the sections on the marking sheet guide, I'm going to show you that once more, but 1 second. No, that's the wrong one. Shit, what was I doing there? So I'm going to 1 second there, but share screen, RSA marking sheet guidelines. We can see position stopping. Where are we? So one of them is stopping too close to the vehicle in front, but usually it's stopping too far away from the curb or hitting or mounting the curb as well. So it could be either when you're stopped at the side of the road or, in your case, getting too close to the vehicle in front. Especially on a hill, always give that extra bit of distance because they can roll back. So I hope that answers your question there, bud. Thank you. How you doing, Sudeshna? When there's a car parked on the left-hand side of the road, that's a hazard, and I need to right indicate, cross the hazard, and then position back into the correct position. But if many such cars parked, what do I do? So I believe you mean if there's loads of cars parked on the left, you mirror. If you feel the need to signal, do it. It's not wrong, it's not right. But if there's no other cars around, there's no need. Just get out, go straight past them all. We don't need to weave in and out of parked cars. And I'm actually going to show you that now. 1 second. Share screen. Oh, just go to the marking sheet guidelines. Position on the straight. Section C says where a driver waves in and out unnecessarily around intermittently parked cars, a fault will be recorded for position on the street. So I hope that answers your question. If there's loads of cars parked to the left, straight past, doors width. If a car does come towards you, then you might have to think reaction to hazards, but it's really hard to kind of, all scenarios are different. If there's a big gap, you can squeeze in behind the car. But yeah, if there's no cars coming, doors width, straight past them all. Hope that answered your question there. Chris Tucker, how are you doing? Do we need to use the handbrake in the test when you park up and drive on in an automatic? I've done most of my lessons in an automatic, and I always had the students use the handbrake. Especially if you're stopped at the side of the road, a lot of instructors don't use it, and if it was wrong, their students would fail every test. Obviously, they don't fail every test, so it must be tolerated in the test. It is correct practice to use the handbrake. I always used it with my students, but it doesn't seem to be compulsory. I wouldn't want to tell you not to use it and then you get marked for it, because in my case, I always use it. But if your instructor says you don't have to, your instructor will know equally as well as I do. If he hasn't failed any tests for not using it, you should be okay. But I would use it. Hope that answers your question, Chris. How you doing, Claire? Passed my test a few weeks ago with Maple House. Well done. Thanks to videos. And Patrick, I was brought to Finglas for test as well. Just a tip for anyone else doing it. Oh, interesting. First of all, congratulations, Claire. Absolutely delighted for you. And I'm glad you had a good experience with Patrick. He's an absolute gentleman. So are you saying when you came out of Maple House, you went left out the gate and around that way? If you could remember your route, I'd be very grateful for that. Yeah, geez, that would be fairly tricky. Interesting. Thanks very much for that. And congratulations. I'm delighted for you. How you doing, Mac? Would you be able to make a video or some guidance if I sent you my marking sheet? Yes, of course. I don't know if you've seen the one I done on Monday, but It's only going to be good if there's loads of marks on it. It's not if it's send it over to me. Yeah, send it over, and if it's a small one, I'll send you a few voice notes on it. And yeah, so send it over to me. I'll put my WhatsApp in the chat now in a second. Hey, you doing, Vaz? When would you get marked for progress on busy roundabouts? Example, Blanchardstown Shopping Centre roundabout. So the only reason why you get marked for progress is for not going when the tester fails it was safe to do so. Sometimes, like, obviously, if you pull out in front of somebody and the other car has to slow down or stop, you'll fail your test because you turned yourself into a hazard. But the tester will, if it's busy, the tester will want to see you kind of demonstrating that you're looking for cars to kind of cut these cars off and stuff. And if the tester fails, like, you should have went and it was safe to do so, and you didn't go, that would be a great tool for progress. Because at the end of the day, they don't have all day to be sitting in the car with you. If it's safe to go and you don't, they'll mark you for progress. So it's a bit of a tricky one. How you doing, Anita? So yes, parking at the spaces. You are supposed to do that on lesson number 5. The only thing is the EDT is like you only get unless if you have your own car. Like in the EDTs, we have a sort of like a strict curriculum that we kind of want to hit. We don't really have time. I'm not going to say it's wasting time because it's not wasting time, but there is far more important things to be doing in lesson number 5, like the turnabout, like tackling a roundabout for the first time. And parking just does kind of get brushed under the rug a little bit. I'm going to just share my screen with you for once. Actually, I have this here, I think. I hope you can see this. But correct position number 2, we can see before. And lesson number 5, we are supposed to demonstrate parking, stopping in a confined place, and stopping in traffic. So you are supposed to do it, but even when I was doing EDTs, I didn't really push that issue too much. I had more important issues to be working on, you know. If you have your own car, brilliant. Say to your instructor, let's do a few minutes on parking, but then you'll have to go with your sponsor and do it because there's more pressing work that needs to be done in lesson number 5. All right. So thanks very much, Anita. How you doing, Buster? So you're welcome. Thank you so much for watching. If no one watches it, it's not worth anything. So I appreciate all you for being here. In a 30 zone in Finglas, is it best to drive in second or third gear in a 2-litre car? I always say drive in third. Like, that's what I always say. I always find, I don't know, I always find that when people drive in the 30s, they don't get marked by gears. If I was ever loose with somebody on their gears and I let them drive in second in a 30, I often find that they do get marked by gears and sometimes accelerator and sometimes progress or all of the above, because sometimes you have to press the accelerator harder, the revs go up. Get used to get your car up to 30, slip it into third, but don't press the pedals and see what happens. And see what happens. What car is it, by the way? And then what car is it? And then we'll have a chat about. So come back to me on that one, Buster. Car is a small hatchback Citroen C1. Were we supposed to come back to something on that? What was the original question, bud? Yeah, that'd be a decent car for learning how to drive. Do you have spots for pre-test, mock test? What you could do, Anita, if you click the first link in the description and fill out the form, and we'll see if we'll be able to help you. So thank you so much. It's perfect. It's getting you from A to B. That's all that matters. And look, don't worry about all. Once you get the full license, that's when you can probably invest in a nicer car. But you don't need a nicer car, especially when you're learning how to drive. It's perfect. All the cars you have are perfect, provided they have an NCT. But so yeah, don't worry about that, man. How you doing, Ellie? Can I sit my test if my back wiper is not working? But then I try to wash it and no fluid comes out. Okay, so I'm going to touch on something a little bit taboo here. Make sure your back window is clean before you go for your test. If the tester asks you to demonstrate how do you wash your back window as your secondary controls, just turn on your high beams and pretend you don't know what he's talking about. Because if it doesn't work, they could not take you out because your car is possibly not roadworthy. But if you don't know how to use it and turn on your high beams and say, oh, what is it again? They'll never know. So if it's broken, don't demonstrate it's broken. Just pretend you don't know what you're doing and get a grade 1 for secondary controls. That would be the best way around that. And that has worked for me over the years. How you doing, Ash? Past first time today. Congratulations. Well done. And you're welcome for the videos. And of course, thank you so much for watching. As I said to the last guy, if no one watches, they're no good. So I appreciate all you guys for watching. And congratulations. Delighted for you. Tui, you're welcome. Thank you. And again, thank you so much for watching. So how you doing, my channel? Are you obliged to overtake a bus, letting passengers off at a bus stop, even when safe to do so? Yes, of course. If that bus is pulled in, so this is again anticipation and reaction to hazards. If you're driving behind the bus, you see the left indicator go on, there's no cars coming. Straight away, you're getting ready to go mirror, signal. Once the bus pulls in, broken white line, nothing coming, by all means, you need to overtake it in your driving test, yeah. If you wait behind the bus at a broken white line with nothing coming, the tester will mark you for progress. No doubt about it. You're welcome, bud. Thank you so much. So, how you doing, Shalesna? So, with automatic cars, do they test hill start? If yes, what is the guidance, please? So, yes, of course they do, and they'll just ask you to move at the side of the road and ask you to move off from a park position. They don't tell you it's a hill start. You will just be demonstrating your gosh show again. If your car has a kind of like a strong fourth gear and it will never roll back, you don't have to worry. Just make sure your gosh out or whatever variation you do is perfect. Making sure you check your blind spot and all that lovely stuff. The automatic car I used to use for lessons did tend to roll back. So what I used to say was do your gosh out before the handbrake comes down. Just put a slight bit of pressure on the accelerator and then one more look and then off you go. And then you won't roll back. Hope that answers your question there. So your car has automatic handbrake, which I can manually apply on signals while on gear using the button. But when I park, handbrake automatically applies. Confused if I need to. I know the newer cars, they kind of tend to go on by themselves. Like at traffic lights, that's good enough. And then just press the gas and it will release, I'm assuming. But when you're parking at the side of the road, I would demonstrate to the tester, press the button, handbrake up in the park, and then cancel your signal. Just for when you're parking at the side of the road. No need when you're at traffic lights or in traffic. How you doing, Ernesto? So you passed your test today in Finglas. Congratulations, bud. Absolutely delighted for you. And you're welcome. And thanks so much for watching the videos. I really appreciate it. And delighted for you now. Well done, bud. Oh, lovely stuff, Claire. Thank you. So you went left outside the main entrance through Kappa and into Finglas that way and around Cardiff. I'd say that was pretty difficult, to be honest, especially if you weren't expecting that one. So thank you so much for that. I'm going to do a bit of research on that one. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you so much for asking. So would you get marked if you went over a split ramp cushion if one side of your wheel goes up and the other side doesn't, but you slow down? Not necessarily, but if it was safe to do so, ideally it would be better to. I'm going to leave a video. It's an old one now from about 3 years ago about how to tackle these speed bumps from a whiteboard, and I talk about when there's 4 broken bumps, 3 broken bumps, when to straddle them, when to put 2 wheels over the bumps. And I'm going to put that video in the description, and that will give you a full description of what to do on them broken bumps, because they can be confusing. If you hit one really hard and the car goes, you probably will get a mark for reaction to hazards. But do me a favor and watch that video that I put in the comments when we finish this live. Is that all right, bud? Wait, I'm starting to run out of steam here. We've been up since 6 o'clock. So Sean, what's the crack, bud? You got a grey tree for not moving into a junction at a green light when turning right with oncoming traffic. I did it 3 times and only failed because of it. Do you think the tester was fair here? Yes, they were 100% fair. This happens to so many people. You failed your test for progress at traffic lights. So I'm going to share my screen here. Take a look at this, and I'm going to add this video in the description below as well when we finish. So share screen, and I'm going to go to progress at traffic lights. 1 second there, bud. And this is so many people fail a test for this. Section A, B, and C is all about where an applicant tends to turn right and waits at the line at a green light, and it's feasible to go towards the centre of the junction. So that's a fail. Where an applicant waits the stop line for a green arrow, if it's a green circle up to the middle. Where an applicant waits at a stop line for a full green light to come on when a green arrow is on. All them are fails. If it's a green light up to the middle, if there's cars coming, look to the right and stop front of your car in line with the centre line. I've done a video about this. I'm going to leave it in the description when we finish, bud, and it will be great if you watched it. I've done so many scenarios with arrows, lights at T junctions, green circle lights. I know it's a bummer. So it happens to so many people, but at least you know now you'll get it next time, bud. It depends on the size of the bump. So if that big bump, slow it down. If you're in automatic, just on the brake. But if you're in the manual, if it's a big bump, second. If it's a huge bump, into first and roll over it. You're welcome, Sean. Thank you so much, bud. Thanks for watching. Right, hold on a second. This is getting out of control now. Okay, so there's about 5 more questions here, and then we leave it at that. So how you doing, bud? So while going downhill, to prevent coasting in a manual, do I continue to shift lower gears 1 gear at a time while keeping the brake pressed, engaged to slow down to the speed limit? So the thing with going downhill is, because you're going downhill, you're obviously naturally going to pick up speed. If you keep going up the gears to kind of match the speed, your car's just going to keep on picking up speed. So if you're coming down a hill and you want to use engine braking rather than staying on the brake, you could use like third, and then that will limit the speed of your car. If the car is screaming at you, use fourth. But if you're in fourth, you probably have to use your foot brake slightly, especially if it's only a 50. But you can demonstrate engine braking there as well, because you don't want to be like in a high gear and just having to have your foot mashed down on the brake as well. So yeah, good question there. Both are correct. How you doing, Roldan? Thanks for your videos. You just passed on pallet today. Lovely stuff. Congratulations, bud, and thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it, and delighted for you. Well done. How you doing, Buster? All right, so it's a 2-litre Tuscan 2018. When I'm in second, the revs are at 1.8, but in third, it's at 1 revs. Do you agree that third is the safer to not get marked? See, if it was me, I would say use third. Other instructors say use second, but if they were constantly wrong, they wouldn't say use second all the time. A car like that, I'm sure it's comfortable in second going 30. You know what I mean? So what to do is drive onto a 30 tomorrow, slip it into third gear, don't press the gas, and just see what happens with the car. If it starts to clunk and clank, just into second, and then you know. But your car will do it if you make it do it. But if it's really smooth in second, just use second and ask your instructor what he recommends on that one, bud, because I'd say use third. If somebody else says use second and they don't get marked for it, well, then that is also correct. There's more than one way to do all these things. 1 second there, bud. How you doing, Ernesto? On the hill start, if you roll back, is it a fault or a grey tree? Did you not just pass your test a few minutes ago? Is that not you? You don't have to worry about this anymore. If you roll back far enough on a hill start, it could potentially be a grey tree if you do it bad enough. possibly, but it will definitely be a grade 2 if you roll back on your hill start and you save it well. Hey, doing, Keith? Our school zone's always 30. In Finglas at Clancy's boys' school, I got marked for progress on the straight for doing 30. No, but that's not necessarily the rule. I remember when I was working in Finglas, there is a lot of schools that are on a 30, but there's also roads that are 50 as well. The likes of St. Helena is a tricky one. That's 30 and it looks like a 50. I'm not sure the names of the schools. I'm sure that's probably the one. If you go straight through the junction at McKee, is it? And you go straight through, all that road, I think, is a 50 going down towards, not Bunratty, what's the name of that? Ballygall. So yeah, if it's a 50 and it's safe to do so, provided there's not like hundreds of kids on the footpaths and they're all zigzagging in and out, but you will be expected to go 50 if it's safe to do so, unless there's kids like looking like they're going to cross the road. Where I lost you there. Sorry, bud. So how you doing, Harris? So you passed your driving test last week. Thanks to video. I bought my car a few months ago. So is there a car maintenance course I can do? I'm sure you could Google that. That's a bit out of my pay zone. I could do a bit outside my expertise, should I say. I could do it doing a course like that myself. But I'm sure if you jumped onto Google, you would definitely be able to find a car maintenance course. I done a Rings End years ago, but it was very good. But I forgot it all now, to be honest. But very good. Continuous learning, well done. Would you get marked for accelerator if your revs of the car are 2,000 revs per minute when moving off at traffic lights? Not necessarily, unless the car is screaming at you. If you do continuously and the car is constantly screaming, the tester might give you a mark because you do want to be like smooth with the pedals. 1 second, I'm going to share my screen with you, but we're going to go to vehicle controls. So we see that's traffic controls. Where's vehicle controls? I think the first one is accelerator, not applied properly or at the correct time or excessive use for the conditions. So if you're excessively using it, eventually the tester is going to mark it. Because remember from your theory test, we always want to be doing eco driving. All right. So yeah, just go easy on your accelerator. Hey, what's the hardest part of the Finglas test route? And what's the hardest part of the Finglas test route? I always thought if you've seen Finglas test route number 4, where I turn right down, where I come up the slip road, I turn left, and then I turn right into the village. And normally you do that route when I was in that area, you do that like at 9 o'clock in the morning, rush hour traffic, and it's so difficult. I used to hate when my students used to get that one. So if you haven't seen any of my test routes, feel free to WhatsApp me and I'll send you the full list, 1 to 8. I must add my phone number to this. Or yeah, and then I can see the full list. But in my opinion, that would be the hardest part. And yeah, this is going to be the last one now because I'm literally running out of steam here. So lovely stuff, Buster. Ask him to, and yeah, come here. As I tell everybody, there's not one rule for everything. What works for me mightn't work for somebody else, and sometimes it's all correct. You know what I mean? If I say something and somebody else says something different, it doesn't mean one of us is wrong. It means we're both right a lot of the time. So yeah, ask him if he's never been marked for it before. Well, then by all means, follow his advice. He's got you this far, and crack him out as well. By the way, well done, bud. Questions. So just one last question about the questions. How many questions are asked, and what's the best way to study them? Have you not seen my videos? I'm going to put my number in the description below. WhatsApp me, and I'll send you the full list of all the questions, road signs, test routes, whatever you need. So that's what I'm going to do now. So thanks so much, everyone, for joining. What do we do there? We've done nearly an hour. I'm absolutely wrecked. And yeah, well done. Best of luck. Thanks for watching. If you want to text me for videos, I'm going to leave my WhatsApp in the description below. Best of luck, everyone, in the test, and I'll see you in the next one. All right. Thank you.